Al Franken, right? Al Franken. If you don't know who he is a United States Senator since 2009. He has been a United States Senator since 2009, and he was a comedian and a writer before he was a U.S. Senator, and then he became a liberal activist, ran for Senate. He's from Minnesota. A story broke today that Al Franken made some unwanted sexual advancements towards a female reporter. And this is just absolutely disgusting. This is adding on to the pile of outrageous sexual harassment that has come out in the past couple of months and weeks. I mean, it started with Harvey Weinstein, disgusting individual that he would do this for so long. And then it turns out not even, it's not just Harvey Weinstein. Everybody in Hollywood knew about this. I mean, prominent actors, Matt Damon, George Clooney, all of these people were covering up what Harvey Weinstein was doing. They knew about it. They said it was no secret what he was doing. We knew that he was doing it, and we covered it up. That was what was going on. But started off with Harvey Weinstein, all that. Then you've got the Kevin Spacey accusations. And you've got all these accusations, and the Roy Moore stuff is coming out. And it seems like people are just coming out with these sexual harassment claims, and I'm glad it's happening. Because we need to expose this type of behavior. This type of behavior should not be acceptable at all. So it started with all that. Now, if you remember, during the election, right, when the video came out of Donald Trump saying, I grab him by the, wherever, and they let me do it. When you're a star, they let you do it. Remember the whole controversy. And liberals all over the place, just jumped on Donald Trump. How dare he make unwanted sexual advancements toward a woman? Even Al Franken was jumping on Donald Trump, criticizing Donald Trump for this. And then we get this picture, ladies and gentlemen. This picture right here, which I'm about to put on the screen. Look at that. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Now, we're going to go into the story, into what actually happened behind this, because this is outrageous. So, he went to Afghanistan with the woman that he's grabbing right there, right? And look at that. I mean, that is literally, he's allowing himself, his photograph to be taken. That's how conceited he was in this situation. He was so certain that this was okay, that he was like, you know what? Take a picture of me doing it. It's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely, and then she got access to the picture. But let's start at the beginning of this. So she goes over, she is the woman in that picture, right? The woman that he sexually harassed. She is dating at this time a guy who's in the military. And she's going overseas to entertain the troops, right? She's done it 8 times. And it's just bringing a little piece of home overseas with her. It's a thing, right? So that's what she's doing. Al Franken decides to go with her. And while they're over there for one of the shows they're going to put on for the troops, Al Franken says, hey, I have a skit that I have written. And, I think you're really going to like it. I think we should do this. And she's like, all right, let me see it. And in the skit, of course, creepy Uncle Al wants to give her a kiss. That's written into the script. It's like, I get to kiss you. That's part of the whole shebang. And she says, okay, well, I figure, and she's thinking, I figure I can move my head to the side, or I can put my hand in front of my mouth, whatever it is, I can make it so he doesn't actually kiss me, right? Because that's what you do when you're acting on stage, is you don't literally sit up there and suck on each other's lips. I mean, it's like it's a kiss for the skit. So she's like, okay, so she agrees to do it. All right. Now, a couple of hours before the show, they're in the back alone, preparing, and he says, we need to go over what's in the script. We need to go over the whole thing. We need to make sure we have this down. And he says, and of course, he wants to rehearse the kiss. And she says, look, this isn't Saturday Night Live. We don't need to do this. Calm down. It's going to be okay. And he keeps saying, no. We need to do this. We need to rehearse this kiss. It's like an obsession with it. We need to do this. We need to rehearse the kiss. So she's like, all right, fine. So he comes in, he grabs the back of her neck, pulls her in, and kisses her, right? And it's just like he's mushing his face against her, is how she describes it. Mushing his face against her. And then he puts his tongue into her mouth with force. Which, first of all, if you're kissing somebody that you're intimate with, or that you're in a relationship with, and you use tongue, that's different. The act of using tongue during a kiss is not weird, but kissing somebody that, number one, Al Franken was married, and and the girl has a boyfriend, and he did that, that is absolutely disgusting. They have no relationship at all. This is a kiss for a skit. The tongue was not scripted into the kiss. She wouldn't have accepted it if that were the case, but he decided to do it anyway. So she pushes him away with both of her hands, and she says, if you do that again, next time I will not be so nice, right? So he says, whatever. They go do the skit, whatever. And he's just like treating her badly the rest of the time, you know, doing stuff behind her back, writing devil horns on pictures of her, just trying to be just being a terrible person in general towards her, because how dare he reject his sexual advances? How dare she do that? That is not good of her to do. So I will now treat her with disrespect because she had the audacity to reject my sexual advances. So moving forward, they're on the cargo plane heading back to LA, right? And she falls asleep. She's been working for a long time. She's been doing a lot of work over there, trying to entertain the troops, and she falls asleep. And while she's asleep, this picture is taken that I just showed you. I mean, you can see she's asleep there. He is literally grabbing her against her will while she is sleeping. All right? Now, look, this sort of thing is unacceptable completely. And people are speaking out against this. 100%. But I am not seeing the same type of outrage towards this Al Franken behavior that I saw against Donald Trump, which, by the way, all of the women that accused Donald Trump, they're gone. Where did they go? They're nowhere to be found. As soon as Donald Trump won, it's like, oh, well, we don't need you anymore. Go ahead. Because of a video, right? There was no evidence of Donald Trump actually doing anything. The liberals like to pretend there is. There is no evidence of Donald Trump actually doing anything. This comes out, and the outrage is minuscule comparatively. It's absolutely insane. But this is just another example of the establishment, of the elite, thinking that they can do this because they're powerful. This is another example of power getting to someone's head and believing that they can do this to somebody else because they have that power. And he wasn't a politician at the time. This is in 2006. This is before he ran. He wasn't a senator until 2009. It was when he got elected to the Senate from Minnesota. He's still serving. This was before that. So, I mean, this guy was doing this before that. And he was a comedian and a writer. He was part of the whole entertainment industry. But again, this is absolutely disgusting. And this is just another example of, again, power, the establishment, people feeling like if they're in a position of power that they can do this to women. And it's absolutely wrong. And it happens to men too. It absolutely happens to men too. To assume that this only happens to women and that it never happens to men is completely asinine, right? This happens to men. But when it happens to men, it's funny. You know what I mean? Like, nobody really laughs. Nobody really takes it seriously when it happens to a man. Like, a man doesn't come out like, oh, sexually harassed. Everyone's like, hey, yeah, you sexually harassed. Okay, yeah. It's kind of a joke. I was listening to, actually, the Bill Burr podcast. And if you haven't listened to the Bill Burr podcast, it's fantastic. But he was talking about how, he's like, look, he's like, he's like, I used to do these meet and greets outside of my events. And he's like, there were women that would just be absolutely crazy. He said one woman just came up to him and licked his neck. And he's like, it's funny to talk about, which it is, right? But, like, if that had happened, like if a man came up to a woman and licked her neck, completely different story. Now, I'm not saying that it's okay for either sex to do it. I'm just saying it does happen to men, too. And the whole thing is disgusting. Nobody should be doing anything like that in any sense, right? Nothing. But this is another example of it happening. So we will see what happens going down the road. Al Franken is saying that he's going to work with investigators, but I just wanted to bring you guys this story, talk about what really happened, because the mainstream media isn't going to be covering this. They're going to skip over it. They're going to cover it briefly because they have to, and then they're going to move on to the next thing, because they do not want to show that this sort of thing happens on the left. They want to criticize the right. They want to cover Roy Moore, which, by the way, if what happened with Roy Moore is true, we should definitely, he should definitely back out of the race if what he did is accurate. And these women are being honest that are accusing Roy Moore. But the left doesn't want to cover it happening on the left. The media doesn't want to cover it happening on the left. They want to keep it on the low. But anyway, that is it for the video today, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and share. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more. I will catch up with you guys next time. Bye-bye.